Hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'm back, Charleston Gaines, with the Cope Life Podcast interview series. I'm hyped. I'm excited. I got my man Walter on here, otherwise known as Hungry and Humble, and we're gonna get into it, man. Because the way that I do this podcast, I love to talk to guests who really have experienced some kind of pain, tragedy, trauma, and they express it in a way that we can relate because we've all experienced this whole myriad of emotions. But the difference today is my man Hungry and Humble is going to bring you a different kind of energy, and I'm hyped because the truth is, all of my guests, not only are they sharing with you, but I'm learning, I'm getting inspired, I'm growing as well. So I'm ready to jump right on in. First question right off the gate, Walter, how you doing? Tell me about you.
Hey, how you doing? I appreciate you just, giving me the opportunity to bring me on your platform and just talk a little bit about myself, getting familiar with you and your brand and the 413 community, coming together with just great minds. I'm so thankful for this opportunity. I'm feeling great, feeling phenomenal, feeling better that I'm here about to have this amazing conversation with you. Take you on a little journey of myself, and I'm ready to get it started. My name is Walter, man. I'm ready to get it started, and I'm thankful for being here.
All right, man. You mentioned the 413, so I'm gonna give a shout out to the 413 is this club that we're on in Clubhouse every morning. I'm on the East Coast, so it's 6:30 for me or 6:40. A lot of people are on the West Coast, they join in at 3:40. I don't know how they do it, but I'm glad that being a part of that community allowed me to meet you, man. Um, so
I'm
I
ready.
want I want to know, man. Tell us your story. I want the meat, man. I want to be hit with something hard. Tell me the story.
Well, man. Okay. Well, it all starts. I'm born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. Kind of from the streets. 18th and Damon. So kind of grew up there. Both of my parents were just complete hard workers. Hard workers. Never graduated high school. Never got their high school education. Just started off at the ground up from their respective jobs. My dad's now a foreman, making well over like 60 something bucks an hour. Got his CDL. Been there with the company for about 22 years. So and then my mom started off at a laundromat, worked there for about 13 years, became a manager, then bought some shares of the company, and then started kind of opening up a chain of laundromats there. So just hard workers. Just trying to give you that background of where that work ethic comes from, that we're going to probably talk about a little bit later. But just so thankful to them for kind of paving the way. They didn't have both their parents, so just my parents just continuing to be that foundation, and really setting that temple that was gonna create what I do now. So I'm from Chicago, Illinois. At an early age, I was always ready to go out there and get it. Like, at 12 years old, I was already telling my parents, I was already going to stores around the neighborhood. Like, I want my own job. I want to start. So I actually, at 12 years old, my first job, I actually was pulling weeds out of businesses around the neighborhood. I would actually just go around the neighborhood and I would ask them, 10, 15 bucks. Hey, I'll pull out all the weeds. I'll rake it. I'll sweep it. I'll make the whole entire, the outside of your whole entire establishment look really good. So just developing a really good work ethic, at 12, just wanting to get out there. I was really fast paced, played a lot of sports in high school, played baseball and basketball was my primary sports, played on a couple traveling teams. And then at 17, I was still a senior, and I had my parents had to actually meet with my recruiter, but my parents had to sign some paperwork in order to give me rights to sign up for the military. So I actually signed up at the beginning of my senior year for the United States Navy, where a week after I graduated high school, I went straight into the Navy. I didn't take no time off. I didn't take the summer. It was literally like, I think it was less than a week. It was like 5 days after my graduation, and I went to boot camp in Great Lakes in Chicago, in Illinois, Great Lakes, Illinois, right outside of Chicago. I served in the military for 6 years, where I did 2 Westpacks. So, I basically traveled and I seen China, Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, just traveled that whole side of the continent. And it was just, a beautiful thing, opened my eyes to a lot of different cultures, religions, people in general, and just understanding different people, personalities, and, gravitating to all of them, gravitating to all these new things that I was learning. I served a tour in Afghanistan for a year and a half. IA Billet out there, where that kind of just changed my perspective on life and how I really seen how grateful I was for really being from the United States, and how good we have it here. You know, a lot of people think that we probably have it bad, and we do. You know, there's a lot of circumstances that happen here, a lot of things that a lot of bad and evil that happen here. But I think that you really got to get outside of the United States to really understand and treasure what we truly have over here. So that opened my eyes to a lot of things serving in Afghanistan. I came back, did another year. I had another year left in the Navy. Did that, got out of my honorable discharge. At that point, you know, I'm the oldest. I have 3 brothers and a sister, and I'm the oldest. So kind of wanted me to come back home and just be that guidance for my brothers and my sisters. So I actually got a job down in Corpus Christi with the Army Depot, where I was helping fabricate aircraft parts and engines down in Corpus Christi at the Army Depot. I did that for about 2.5 years. And I just, you know, something inside of me just wanted more. And at the time, the person I was with, she was in the military as well. So she had got transferred to Virginia. So that was like my real reason of leaving. It was like I was getting real consistent there, like real content there, that you know, I wanted a change of pace. So I ended up picking up a production manager position for Universal Forest Products, where I was a production manager for about 1.5 years. I started as a supervisor. After about 6 months, I went for the production management position, where I got it. I did that for about 1.5 years. And then something just inside of me, I was making good money, but it just wasn't what I truly wanted. So I took it back home. I left where I was at, everything. I came back home and I said, I want to start my own business. I want to really be involved with the youth. I want to be involved with just like studio production and radio. And I just kind of, you know, put my best foot forward. I go by hungry and humble. So I made the right connections, the right resources. And I just kept that work ethic, which allowed me to open up my store in Pilsen with 3 other owners. Project 1021, it's an incubator store for artists to just come, and we kind of pave the way and put them on the right path to just being able for them to be able to create and be the artist that they were supposed to be. We create merchandise there as well, and we host small events and venues. I also got Rockstar Studio, where I'm a studio manager, a producer, and a booking manager for Music on 3, where we book artists. So have you ever seen Tiny Desk? It's our Chicago version of Tiny Desk. We book artists, give them a nice platform, about 15-minute interview, and they perform 2 to 3 of their songs. And then NexxLegacy Radio, that's like that's my pride and my joy. That's my baby. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Danielle from the 413. Just an amazing human being. Met her for about 2 years ago, and just our connection and our bond has just skyrocketed, and we kind of just go hand in hand with everything that we do in business. So NexxLegacy Radio. Right now, I'm gonna try to extract this audio, get it played on the radio station, if not here in the upcoming weeks. But definitely just NexxLegacy Radio. I want to bring as much light to NexxLegacy as I possibly can. It's a growing platform. We launched last year of March, and since then, I mean, we're in the millions with listeners. We're in the early millions with downloads to the station. It's a free app, so please go download it. NexxLegacy, that's NEXX Legacy. And yeah, that all in a nutshell. I mean, as far as that's like my career wise, what I've kind of done, family wise, I mean, I've had a crazy roller coaster. I mean, do you want to get into that aspect of it?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, I do want to get into it, but before we get into that, I just want to say, my computer just crapped on me, so I'm on my phone now.
Okay, I kind of seen when the screen went to just me, but I figured, okay, you're messing with the way you wanted to kind of visually kind of present this. So I was just like, let me just keep on going, and so I see it either crash on my end, or we're just gonna keep this thing going. I seen the live going, so I wanted to make sure we were good to go.
I love it, man. I appreciate you. I got a message from my computer that said, "We don't know what happened. Hit a button." Yeah, but I want to get into the family part, and what I want to start off with, man, is just you mentioned about how hard your parents worked,
Yeah.
and so what I want to know, because I love that. I love how our parents can set an example, but for so many of us, when they work that hard, we don't see them that much. And so
Mhm.
what I want to know is what kind of relationship you had with them, and then did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, yeah. So actually, when it crashed, I talked a little bit about my brothers. I'm actually the oldest, so I have three younger brothers, a sister. Go through them all real quick. Noel Rodrigues, that's the next oldest. He's got his CDL. Just bought a house. He did it completely the right way, the way you're supposed to do it, like in the movies. He uh he actually took his girl, proposed to her took her to Paris, proposed to her at the Eiffel Tower, came back, got married, bought a house, had a child. So he's just like I call him like he's the picture perfect one of all of us. Then there's the next one is Bo. He works for the CPD. He's a Chicago police works for the Chicago Police Department out here. Served in the military as well. Got out with his honorable. Came out here, bought a house, started his family. He works for. He's a police officer. Then there's the youngest, Thomas. Right now, he just working hard. He's had his same job for about 9 years. He works for the city. He's a garbage man, and he just works out 24/7 in the gym, trying to get his body right and his mind right. He's like a part-time bodybuilder, and so that's what he does. Then it's my youngest. The youngest is my sister. She's like the golden child. She really is. I guess it was one of those. All right, this is the last time, and if we don't get the girl, that's it. If we don't get the girl, that's it. We're done trying. But they finally got her, but she's the golden child. Just graduated from college, got her associates, working on her bachelor's. Graduated at the top of her class, 4.0 GPA. Just all around. She just got her CDO as well. So she just goes out there and like tops everything that we do. We come from a real competitive family, but a real healthy competitive family. Both my parents, as hard as they worked, they were both athletes as well. So just coming from that competitive nature, but like I said, it was a healthy competitiveness. I feel like we kind of lost that with this generation. Not to take away from nothing, because I do feel like everybody deserves to win and everything. But it's a different era completely. And so I come from that healthy competitive era. That was a little bit about my brothers and my sister, my siblings. But my parents, we actually had a good relationship. It's actually kind of crazy. Like, they've been married right now I'm 34. They've been married for about 36 years now, together for about 39 years. They had me at a really young age. But as far as like their work ethic and them always working, it was crazy. They always made time for us. I just think that when you talk about like parenting and everything like that, they did an amazing job. They did the best that they can, but that's the thing, like the ceilings, like they did the best that they can, but we weren't taught like credit and how to save and certain budgeting and stocks and how to invest. And because they weren't taught that. They were never given those tools. But definitely by just giving us, I believe that they gave us all the tools that they possibly could give us. And I'm super grateful for that. I mean, my dad tried to make it to the point where he came out to my baseball games. He didn't make them all the time because obviously he was working like crazy, but just the point for him to make it a point. And I seen him come in with his construction uniform with tar all over it, because they fix the streets and stuff, the highways, and like not even go home, come straight to a game. My mom, we lived about 2 blocks away from the park, so my mom would literally like make sure I had food before I walked to the park over. She knew exactly where I was at. She wanted to make sure I was there. Didn't allow me to go to parties. Didn't allow me to hang out with the wrong groups or crowds. And not never judge a book by its cover. But when it comes to things like that, I want to say my mom was a good judge of character when she told me, hey, I don't want you hanging around this person, just because I guess maybe she's foreseen things if I hung out with that person. But either way, just a great counselor, a great guider. They were both in my life. I've always had a super strong foundation. And maybe that's something in my early ages why I took that for granted, and why I was just like at 17 so ready to go out there, ready to go live my life, ready to go be me. That I. But as far as parenting, man, great relationship. I have a great relationship with them now. again, I wish that they were given the tools to give us the way I have the tools, and I'm going to give the tools to my kids. I wish that they had that, because we'd be talking about a whole different era, and they would probably be the ones creating generational wealth rather than setting me up to create generational wealth. But either way, I'm thankful regardless.
I love that. I love that. You know, and the thing for me is that one thing that you never said was that anything was easy. And so I love that, right? The work came with it. I love that. So tell me, so we talked before about, you know, you and I just talked before about some of the things that you've been through as a young adult, as a father, and some things you struggled with. Why don't we dig into that a little bit?
Okay, so I mean, so yeah, just me as a father, like, so you have to know me, you have to know the story, because if not, I could be like right off the jump, it could be, I could just be turned into that evil character. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's the evil character. But if you hear the whole story and really understand it, it's just like, I might be that evil character, but you know, I'm trying to hold a halo. I'm trying to hold a halo and some wings over me as well, with everything that I've just been through. And being a father has probably been one of the hardest things and the most vulnerable things that I've gone through. I didn't know. So I have 5 children. I said I have 5 children. If you want to know the whole deep story about me, I truly have 8 children. I have 5 biological kids and 3 stepkids. Because, you know, my stepson, I was in his life for 7.5 years. I have him tattooed on my arm. He's just a part of my foundation as well. And then I have my stepdaughters. They're twins, and, you know, I'm in their lives now, and they're just, you know, and I've been in their lives for the last 3 years, and they become a part of my foundation, that they just, you know, they're all mine. But when they, you know, people are like, "Then you have 8," I'm like, "Hold up." They're, you know, I have 8 biological. They're like, "Okay, how old are they? Like, did you?" So it gets a little tricky like that. But so I have 8 kids. You know, I didn't. Okay, so I have my oldest is Nico. I didn't know about him until he was 3.5. So I didn't know about he was 3.5. That's a story in itself. And be on the lookout for the book, The Sit Down. I do have my book coming out. If not later this year, early next year. But I'm shooting for late this year. But so that's just a whole nother story in itself. But I didn't even find out till he was 3.5. I was out of the military, got a phone call randomly, and, you know, "Hey, this is your son." So found out about my son Nico like that, and then just developed a relationship. Like I said, if you really want to know the whole story, be ready for the book when it comes out. Then my daughter, that happened when we were in Afghanistan. She was in the Army. I was in the Navy. You all know, obviously, you're not supposed to be, you know, fraternizing while you're out there and everything like that. So she was kind of worried. She ended up actually coming back to the States, because we were 2 different platoons. I was from the Navy. She was in the Army. They were out of Florida. We ended up just meeting out there. But that's where I had my daughter. She came back to Florida, had my daughter. When I came back from Afghanistan and I was done with my tour, I went down there. I met my daughter and everything like that. But we kind of kept a relationship over the phone, just because us being so distant, being in different states. So there goes to my 2 kids, right? My first 2. Now, I've never experienced fatherhood. So I don't even know what it is. I'm still out here trying to do, you know, be me. I'm still out here partying. I'm still out here doing, you know, just being a younger version of myself, not really understanding or grasping what it was, because they weren't there. I wasn't a part of the birth or anything like that. So my 2 kids that come, you know, they're 11 months apart, and you know, that's Walt. And it's crazy because he's not, you know, he's Walter the third. So my second son's Walter the third, and I got my daughter Addison Faith, and then my stepson Aiden. I was with my ex for about 6.5, 7 years. And, you know, we had our 2 kids, and I was there for everything, the birth, the morning sickness, the, hey, go do this, I need this cravings, hey, you got to clean up the whole house, you got to do everything. And then she was also military too. So after she gave birth and everything, I'm there. She actually I'm put on deployment for about 7 months. So I'm literally everything now. I'm mom, dad. I got to go to work. I got to do everything. So I was just like indulged in every single moment. And it gets to the real sensitive, because I feel like I could only talk to my parents about this, because it's just like, man, how can you feel that way? How can how can you be this person? Are you? And it makes me feel like, am I evil feeling like this? But I have a different connection with with Walter the third and Addison, a way different connection than I do with with my other kids. And sometimes I get mad at myself for doing that, because it's just like, man, I should be able to share my love. I do share my love, but it's like it is maybe more focused or directed. So going back to just dealing with being a father, and at the end of the day, that's why they say, pick one woman, have kids with them and everything, because it does get hard. It does get stressful. All their moms, we've had their ups and downs, but I'm at the point where I'm never going to talk bad about any of them anymore. We're just at the point where I just want to be great parents and set them up for success and create this generational wealth, whether that be us be friends or whether that be us be enemies, being able to put our differences aside for the better sake of our children. So that's the stage I'm at right now. But then, so Trey and Addie come, right? That's what I call them, Trey and Addie. They're 11 months apart. So at that point, I have 4 kids and my stepson. At that point, I was in North Carolina. We had moved. That's what I said. I was in Texas. We moved from Texas to North Carolina, bought a house, everything. And I just wasn't happy. I was happy with the family aspect of everything, but something was missing. And I told her, I was just like, I don't want to work for somebody that I feel like I'm smarter than. And I don't want to work for somebody for 40, 50 years that I'm just going to be able to have a retirement and I can't pass down nothing to my kids. And she's just like, really, nothing wrong with it, but she's just really like, no, you need a job. You need to do this. It's, entrepreneurship at this point, when you have 4 kids, is just too, we can't do that right now. And so we decided just to part ways, go our separate ways, and just try to remain good parents for our kids. So she's doing amazing in North Carolina with my kids. So I come back to Chicago where I wanted to start everything. I told myself, that's it. I'm just focusing on the business. I need to get my mind right. Obviously, I just want to be able to put myself in the position to create generational wealth and work for my kids, because I want to be close to Trey and Addie. Like I said, I have a different attachment. I want to be able to have all my kids together, but for some reason, I have to go live where Walter the third and Addison are at. Like, I have to live in that same area, and that's still the mind frame now. Like, where I'm looking at property now, and when we buy, it's gonna end up being in the same vicinity as Walter the third and Addison, because I just want to, I want to be there. It's just a different connection. I want to be able to finish off and finish coaching them and just be a part of their everyday lives. It's different when I go visit them, and it's just for a time frame. It's different if I talk to them every day, even if it's for 10 minutes or an hour. It's just completely different from when I could hold them and feel their energy. So that's the objective, to get back over there. So I come back to Chicago. I tell myself, stay focused. And I am focused. All these great things are happening. I'm making great connections. NexxLegacy Radio, Project 1021. A lot of great things are happening. I meet an amazing woman. I told myself, no, don't do it. Don't do it. This is not the time. You're not in the position. None of this. I told myself this. But she, at the same time, she was somebody that I knew for a very long time. Her friendship was valued very highly. I respected her like crazy. And she was just gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous. And I just couldn't and she was persistent as well. We just made an amazing connection. And since then, since I came back a little bit after I came back, we made a small friendship, and it just kind of rolled from there. And, that's the person that I want to hopefully finish off life and build this business. But she had 2 twins, came into their life at a really early age as well. So they've kind of just build on me. I build on them, and they've kind of grown on me, and I love them. And so we just had our daughter. We just had a daughter a month ago. But that is it. I don't know if I can say this but that's it. I'm going to the doctor. I'm getting everything that I got to get done, because I really feel like my legacy is already here now. So now it's just about putting everything, staying consistent with the work ethic, creating those relationships, and staying true to myself, staying true to the change, staying true through all the lessons learned, and creating this generational wealth. I'm going to keep preaching generational wealth, because that's just something that I like throwing out there. I like making sure that we could all manifest that. And I want to manifest that with everybody, generational wealth. So that's my family. I mean, if you want to ask any questions, as far as if you want to go to get into the nitty gritty of any one of those relationships, I mean, we obviously can. If you want to know anything, we can. But yeah, man, I've had a crazy roller coaster of a life. But I like to, and the book's coming out, and I want it to be where people take my life, they laugh at it, they cry at it, but it's something that they could be like, hey, dang, he used all his losses for lessons. And it made him a better father, it made him a better brother, a better son, a better husband, all of that.
So I want to dig a little bit on what thought or feeling you had that just triggered that change in emotion.
Just thinking about the objective at hand, that so much that I want, but so much has to get accomplished.
I mean, so there's a lot of pressure there. Especially when we're talking about our legacy, we're talking about building for our kids, building for their future. What do you think the two oldest ones would say if I were to ask them now what kind of father you've been? What do you think?
I think that they would say that he loves me, but I want him to be present more. And in order to be present more, unless you're in the same city, I mean, you got to be able to you got to be able to work on your own and create your own business, create your own income. Because even if you, like I've done the 9 to 5, you don't get enough, if you don't live in the same city or state, you don't get enough time off from a job to go see your kids like that. And then it becomes finances, plane tickets, rental cars, Airbnbs, hotels. So it's a process. It's a process. And I've just been fortunate enough to be in the position to have, to either, create my own financial freedom, or I have loved ones that, they all help me win.
See, and when you say that, when you talk about the struggle and you talk about being present, you remind me, right? Even in the beginning, I asked you about how often you saw your parents with how busy they were, and they showed up for you. And the reason I bring that up is because what I would say is part of their legacy is you putting in the work. It's a different kind of work, but if you have any issues in life, it's not going to be because of a lack of work ethic. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think that's something that, I mean, obviously I've never met your parents,
yeah,
but I think they'd be proud of your work ethic, and so would your kids. I could say for me, growing up, my dad was in the Army, and we just called it the field. He was just in the field, and I was overseas. My dad was there, so we're kids going to school overseas, and it happened a lot. A lot of our friends, dad's just in the field. We'll see him in 3 weeks, or then Desert Storm hit, so just didn't see him for 8 or 9 months. And it's not because of a lack of effort on his part. He had a job to do, And so when you talk about that 9 to 5, yeah, it's harder when you're not in the same city, man. But you keep working at it. And as much as we talk about generational wealth, I think about work ethic being your legacy as well. And I say that because that's not something that your kids need to see in the future. They can see it now. So let's talk about that. What do you think your legacy is now?
My legacy now?
Yes.
My name. Hungry and humble, man. Hungry and humble. Just staying hungry, being able to stay humble through everything, the good, the bad. It's not only staying humble through the good, and it's because I feel like it's easy to stay humble when it's good, but it's hard to stay humble when it's bad. So my legacy is simple, it's fundamental, but that I was always hungry and humble.
I like it. Yeah. And so with that, you've been able to build NexxLegacy, and you've talked about it some. So what I want to know is, this is a Cope Life podcast.
Real quick too, I don't mean to interrupt you. Hungry and humble, and then there's a reason why I always use 21. 21, there's a reason why that's my favorite number. I tell everybody there is a significance to it, not only because Roberto Clemente is my favorite baseball player, he wears 21, not only because my dad just pushed it in my head that it's his favorite numbers, and I wanted it to be my favorite number, but I made my own meaning behind it, and it was just that you have to learn how to be two before you could be one. So definitely, 21. So just definitely, I want people to understand the significance behind 21 when they do see Hungry and Humble 21. Before you could be number one, you have to know how to be number two. So basically, that saying, before you could be a chief, you got to learn how to be an Indian. So I just feel like, there's a lot of value, a lot of knowledge out there. So definitely just soak it up and learn how to be behind somebody and just learn off them. And if you're behind the right person, they're going to want you to succeed and be something bigger than they ever were. And that's what we have at NexxLegacy. So go ahead, because I know you're going to want to ask something about NexxLegacy. So there goes the segue.
Yeah, well, I love it, right? I love it. You're not just going to walk into being number one. You're chasing somebody else. And when you get there, you have the perspective, right? You might want to have that mantle of being number one, but there's opportunities to learn, there's opportunities to grow. And when you have that perspective, when you're hungry and humble, it allows you to also build connections and learn from one another and help each other out, right? Because hungry and humble and NexxLegacy has nothing to do with leaving people behind. That's not part of it. And so, like I said, this is a Cope Life podcast, and a Cope Life is one in which we bring kindness, optimism, positivity, and empathy to every aspect of life. And so what I want to know is how are those elements reflected in NexxLegacy? Kindness, optimism, positivity, and empathy.
I would say those are some of the key words to the DNA of our culture. And I think with every brand and every business, it all starts with the culture. It starts with the culture that is presented, that is set by the founders, the COOs, the board of advisors, the higher ups, all the way trickling down to the bottom of your business, to the person that handles your mail, that are receiving the calls. So just definitely just having those key functions in our culture, us being every day, being positive, always being optimal, always looking at the cup half full, coming up with new ideas, being innovative, and just always putting our best foot forward and creating that legacy with good, authentic value, staying consistent with innovation. So we're changing radio. I really feel like we're changing radio. A lot of radio stations, they have certain restrictions from what they could play, what they can do, how they could promote, how they could advertise. With us at NexxLegacy Radio, we're able to innovate and change and adjust on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis. If we really had to, we could change on a daily basis. So just having that function, just to be able to pivot. And then, every day, you hear Danielle in the 413, that positivity, that good spirit, that good energy. That's trickled down. She's the COO of NexxLegacy Radio. We're co-COOs, and we trickle that energy down. We try to stay motivated. If anybody follows me on Instagram, they know I put up my morning motivation. I try to motivate people every morning before I go to the gym with a little bit of, 15 seconds. Some days I look bummy. Some days I look more alive. Some days, but I'm always there. I'm consistent. I'm out there. I'm letting everybody know there's good days, there's bad days, but every day we have to be able to persevere. We can't just stay stagnant in that day, because we're going to lose time. And at the end of the day, even though we've made up time as humans, the thing that we've made up as humans, time, that is the most precious thing that we have. So just being able to keep value our time, and like I say, I feel like that's all a part of our DNA when it comes to the foundation of what we do, and our environment, and just our community and what we're doing with NexxLegacy. So I think that's a big part of our DNA, the acronym of your station, COPE.
I love it. Thank you. So I got in the comments, Robert Barry, man, he's an awesome dude. I love this dude. If you have any comments or questions, man, just drop them in the comments, and then we'll put them on here, man. We'll get right into it, Rob. So if you have a question, let me know, man. I'll put it on the screen, and we'll dig into it. So one thing you were talking about, one word that you use that I hear quite often in business is consistent. So with that, how important is it to be consistent in your values? I'm not even going to talk about your specific daily tasks in your to-do list or whatever, but consistency in your values.
I mean, that's priority. It's priority. It's something that is that represents us. It's something that shows other businesses, people that it shows our partners. It shows future partners of what we do and how we hold ourselves accountable and what we expect of ourselves. We don't expect to get stagnant. We don't expect to give you less than 150%. And those are and that's the energy. That's what you get with Next Legacy Radio. So consistency is a must. It's not even something that we could question. It's not even something that us as owners we go in and talk about it. It's just something that is in us. It's something that we know what we do. And the owner, Charles Madison, shout out Charles Madison, the owner and founder of Next Legacy Radio. He's weeded out that process already, where anybody that comes onto Next Legacy Radio, that's you've kind of been weeded out to know that you're consistent in what you do, and that you're able to be able to provide at a high value at the same time while receiving a lot of good value. So consistency is a must. There's no way around it. And it's not even something that and I don't want to sound harsh about this, but it's not even something at this stage that I want to put our time to try to force or put onto somebody. This is something that you have to come to the table with, and it's something that we require because it's something that we hold ourselves accountable to.
I love the accountability, right? We're hitting on a lot of different things that I love, right? From legacy to consistency, accountability. I love all of it because really those are things that apply to every aspect of life. And, so I go back to what you were saying about your parents again and their work ethic, right? And so everything that you're saying now reminds me of what you said, even about your dad. So he showed up when he could. But you understood the value of the connection, the value of him supporting you and loving you. And when you're consistent, when your words, thoughts, values, behaviors, when they all align, then no one questions you, right? So whether your dad could make it or not, you didn't question your relationship. You didn't question if he loved you. Okay, I know that he wanted to. I know where his heart is at, where his character is at. And same thing with your mom. But for her to go from laundromat employee to owning multiple laundromats, how did that impact your kind of perspective on getting into business? How did that impact you that way?
Well, like I said, my parents have always impacted me at an early age, and it played a critical role. But to be honest, it was just something that I knew that I've always wanted to do. I just didn't know my niche. I didn't know where I wanted to do it. But since I was, like I said, since I was 12, maybe 10, I knew that I wanted to always be able to provide for my family, not just my kids, but like my family, my brothers, my sister. I want to be the reason why we're having, meetings once every 3 months quarterly as a family, because we're all putting up $10,000 of our money to come together to buy some real estate. I want to be the reason why we're all growing together. Why I set not only myself up for generational wealth or my kids up for generational wealth, but setting up my brothers and my brothers' kids and us all having a piece of us creating our own monopoly, us just truly creating our own monopoly. And then through all the resources that I've created and connected with and the friendships, if we could all eat together, that is the plan. But I want to be able to provide the table, not just be a part of a table. So I want to be able to provide a table. And that's the mindset.
I love it. I love it. Just being able to provide, because when you're talking about providing, you talked a lot about generational wealth, but that can be kind of a long-term perspective, long-term goal. But when you're talking about meeting regularly like this, that's in the present. That's building the connections now. Do you see a lot of that same mindset in your kids?
Yeah, I think they do. I think they're little they're little hustlers in a way too. I mean, my daughter would do a lot of different things that my sister did, and just go to the store and like sell certain things she got at the store to her brothers at the house, just because and she's overcharging them because, hey, I went and got it for you, and she's that business mindset. And not only that, just from the athletic standpoint, like all my kids are dual sports. They're all ahead of their class as far as their studies. That's one of the things that I try to preach as much as I can. Kudos to just their moms, all of them making sure, because I could only preach for so much, right? None of them are in the same state except for my newborn now and my step twins. But none of my kids. So all I could do is preach, preach, and they respect me. They have that respect. But kudos to their mom for actually being there, making sure that things get done. But all my kids, they all play dual sports. They all get straight A's, and so they have that work ethic already. I feel like they understand that I'm grateful to the man upstairs. If it was passed down, it feels like it was passed down. We'll see in years to come. But then, yeah, just a little bit about, creating generational wealth. I know it might sound weird. I know I might sound weird, but even though we're having this interview today, like my mind is so on. I'm already thinking like 60 years ahead right now. I'm already planning for like future things, future endeavors that I want to do into real estate, creating a studio. And I've already seen it. I'm already seeing it now within my mind that I'm so far ahead. And sometimes when I have these conversations with people, it's a little thrown off, like what, but I've already seen this. I kind of seen my lessons. I've seen my lessons. I've like deja vu. I've seen my lessons and I still went through them when I could have changed them at any moment. But I'm grateful for all my lessons. I don't even call them losses. I call them lessons. I'm grateful for all my lessons because that's what they are in life. And everybody needs to look at them like that. Lessons. That's all they are. Lessons, never losses. Everything's just a lesson for you to grow as a person, and nothing. I feel like nothing besides really killing somebody or doing something crazy is something that you could come back from. And even then, killing somebody, it's also like, what predicament were you in? What crisis were you in? What scenario were you in? That could be, subject for, self-defense too. And so I really feel like you're never down and out. If you're truly hungry and humble, you're never down. You just gotta pick up and understand it's day by day. After you start seeing day by day and you see the consistency, you see the work ethic, it's gonna go week by week, year by year. And that's why I'm like, I'm here now, but I'm already seeing. We predicted what NexxLegacy is doing now. We predicted that NexxLegacy would do this March, April, May, June, July. We predicted this like in July and August. That NexxLegacy would be doing this. Well, the numbers and everything, the downloads that we have, the partnerships that we have, just the way it's growing, we predicted this, and it's happening now. So just manifesting it, and then not just only manifesting, but having work ethic and execution behind everything. You know what I mean? Because we could just say so many things, but if we don't have that execution, it's only our thoughts can only take us so far.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's dig into that a little bit. The integration of manifesting, work ethic, and execution. I just want you to give me a couple more minutes of that.
Whew, you said the mix. I promise you. It's as fundamental as it sounds. You just said the criteria. You just said the criteria of success, and I mean, people don't want to hear it, but that's really what it is. It's just being patient, being consistent, manifesting it, and then executing. Like, yes, you're coming up with the idea. You can come up with so many ideas, but what kind of solutions are you coming up with those ideas for those ideas? Are you thinking the ins and the outs? Or are you just thinking of the idea? I feel like I come across so many people that just come up with a great idea, and that's great and all, but what are we doing every day to manifest this idea? What are we doing every day to keep that work ethic, to keep this gravy train going with this idea? And what type of execution, what kind of execution are we putting behind ourselves in our daily routines and with our team members to really bring this idea to life? So, I mean, if you have those three and you could harness that, I mean, I believe that you will have truly success in whatever niche or whatever business that you truly are in. So being able to manifest, put work ethic, consistency behind it, and execution, I mean, You tell me how you can go wrong with those three.
Well, I'll tell you one way that you can go wrong is by listening to the outside noise. And so what I want to know is, when you first started this journey, this NexxLegacy process, I just want to know if there were a couple haters.
A couple. I feel like they've grown. I feel like since the success, my haters have grown. It's not even my haters. They're my supporters too, because at the same time, I mean, if they're talking about NexxLegacy whether it be in a good way, a bad way, if they're talking about hungry and humble in a good way or a bad way, if they're still living on things that I done 15, 20 years ago as a child, I mean, that's up to them. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But man, I definitely have some way more haters. And it's crazy, but it's like the people, not your friends, but the close ones that you know, that you're those acquaintances that, hey, how you doing? Those every so often, it's just like how it's different energies. And it's when I needed support and I wanted this help and I was looking for support, it was not given. It was never given. It was, you know, laughed at and everything. And now that we're at this point, now it's just like I'm getting random text messages, emails. Hey, can we collaborate? Hey, you're doing this, and it's just crazy to see the shift in that scale as we progress with success. But with that being said, you have to be ready for that. You know what I mean? You have to be ready for that. You have to be ready for the fake love to come. You got to be ready for the real love to come. And then you have to be a good judge of character, right? You have to be a good judge of energies to be able to segregate yourself and know what's for you and what's not for you. Because you got to be able to, you know, shift at any moment and be like, okay, that's definitely not for me. It doesn't align with what I want. And when you get to this point, you have to truly stay focused. Because I feel like even at a high celebrity status, they you have to make sure things align, because when you don't, you get in trouble, right? Certain things happen. I mean, there's affairs, there's drug overdoses, there's just wrong mistakes made, wrong choices made at wrong times. And so just being able to align yourself with everything, because once you reach that point or you're on your way to that point, a lot of things are going to get thrown at you. A lot. Things out the woodworks, whether it be family, relationships, significant other, bills, past, just building your brand up. I mean, there's so many obstacles. And then when you're getting to that point and you're right there and you're like, you're going to have another thunderstorm. It's going to be another thunderstorm. And you got to just be able to persevere and get through those days. Stay hungry, stay humble, stay consistent, keep the work ethic, keep the mind frame, keep the manifestation going, keep the execution going, and believe, have faith, whatever that faith is too. Because I don't get into people's religion, but I do believe in faith. And when I say faith, that could be Allah, it could be Jesus Christ, it could be Buddha, it could be all that when I say faith. So just having that faith, that higher power connected to something more than you, that you know is something more than you, and aligning yourself with that. And it took me a long time to align myself with the right things, because I was selfish. I was selfish, and it took my kids and a lot of variables happening in my life to say, Walter, you're here for a reason now. Come on now. You're here for a reason. Get it together. I'm only going to give you so many chances before I'm gonna pass you up on being a prophet or being a successful person, however you want to see it. Because I feel like I was put on here to be a prophet when it's all said and done, and that's just to spread the word of just being a good human being, working the right way, staying consistent, staying hungry, staying humble. So I feel like I really truly aligned myself finally. I've been going to church every Sunday, and it's been forever since I've done that, but I've been doing that consistently since my daughter's been born, a little bit before that. So, and it's just crazy how it's a snowball effect of good things happening now when you align yourself, when you truly align yourself, when you focus yourself. It's just crazy, all the positivity and the opportunities that are created.
I love it, man. I love it. There's so many different concepts and ideas that you bring together that I feel like, you know, are part of your legacy right now and going forward, right? So what have we talked about? We've talked about consistency, accountability, work ethic, manifesting, execution, faith. And all of these things go together. And I love how you integrate those, because that's not just about NexxLegacy, that's your legacy. And that's something that we can apply to every aspect of our lives, whether we're doing radio or whether you own a Chick-fil-A, it doesn't matter.
And I want everybody to know too, I say all these great things that, you know, that you should apply and we should have within ourselves, but it was not always like that. So whoever's listening, if it does reach your ears, I want you to know, like, if you're in a bad state of mind, if you're in a dark place, I've been there. If you're hurting, I've been there. And it's just, and those emotions, all those emotions played a role into these accountability, staying consistent, sadness, depression, anxiety, just fear. A lot of these things play, but I changed it. I changed it in my mindset to, instead of it being fear, just look at it as bravery and just put it into the consistency, accountability, staying hungry, staying humble. So all those other words, depression, anxiety, they're all in hungry and humble. They're all inside. They all create that hungry and humble. So I just want people to understand that it's not always good. It's not always easy. As easy as it's for me to say, like, oh, I get up, I'm motivated, I'm there every day. No, I deal with a lot of stuff. I hate being away from my kids right now. Just saying it affects me. It hits me like in my core. Like, so just being able to turn that into power, turn all those feelings into power, and being able to just move the right way. Don't stay stagnant. If you stay stagnant, you'll stay in those feelings forever. You'll stay in that pain forever. And we were not meant to be in pain forever. We were meant to experience it. We were meant to experience depression and experience us crying and experience these things because the man upstairs gave us these tools, but we were not designed to do that and live in depression, live in fear, live in us crying. We were not made for that. We were made to be happy, prosper, and be truly who we were designed to be. So in order to do those things, you gotta persevere, and you gotta fight through the darkness a lot of days, sometimes 5 days out the week. You know what I mean? So I want our listeners to truly understand that it's it's a hard mountain to climb, but it's a mountain well worth it.
I love that. Yeah, definitely. Elevating your happiness is a process. It's definitely a process. You say it's a hard mountain to climb. A lot of people have to understand that they actually do have the ability to climb the mountain. They actually do have the ability and the opportunities to be happy, to elevate their happiness, to make one day better than the next. So what would you say to someone that heard everything that you just said and their response is, well, I've tried and I can't do it?
I would say, here's my number. Let's join the 413 community. And if I don't see you in the 413 community, you're gonna get a phone call from me, and we're gonna start from there. We're gonna start with a real foundation, a real relationship, a real friendship, so somebody is truly here for you. And I feel with that, it'll just gravitate more energy, more like-minded energy will be around that. I truly feel like you are around the 5 people that you surround yourself with, or who you read on, or who you're closest to, because you might not have 5 people you're close to. You might read books all day. So, what 5 authors are you reading every day? Which, and I feel like that's who you tend to be with. So to that person, I would just say, you're loved. Here's my phone number. I want you to join this 413 community. And I just want to start a bond and a friendship with you. And I would just listen. I would just truly just listen. Listen with no response, and just listen, because sometimes people just want to be heard.
Okay.
So, people just want to be heard. And I feel like if they're able to be heard, that's why the man upstairs blessed us with 2 ears and 1 mouth. So, definitely to listen a little bit more than we talk. So I would just, again, tell that person, I love you. Don't be scared. You're amazing. Give them my phone number and invite them to the 413 community.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I knew that you were having some technical difficulties, so I prolonged my question and just kept on it a little bit longer, and just just extended my answer.
All right. So I'm having more audio issues. So this is what I want to do is I just want you to close us out. Hit us with the positivity. Share what you want to share. Tell us about the business, and then you close it out, man. And I don't know. Give me a signal. Give me a signal when you're done.
I got
whatever
you.
it is.
Thumbs up. I'll give you a thumbs up. I'll give you one of those right there. But nah, I appreciate Charleston Gaines right now, man, for the KOPE Life podcast. You guys have been amazing. I know we had some technical difficulties, but I thought it was still an amazing interview. It's been a while since I just talked about myself a little bit in my journey, so I appreciate you that. I appreciate everybody being patient with me, being a little bit vulnerable with me, and I just want people to understand that you can do anything that you that you want, that you possibly want. You can do anything. And that's not just an understatement. That is truly letting anybody know. If you're stuck in your 9 to 5 and you don't want to do it anymore, I mean, definitely have a plan. Just don't go out there and hey, I quit, that's it, and boom, and just not have a plan. Definitely have a plan. But if you're tired of something, change it. You have the outcome to change it. You guys can check out our store, Project 1021. We make merchandise. We're an incubator store for artists. We partner up with artists and sell their artwork. We also turn it into NFTs. So definitely check out Project 1021. That's PRJCT 1021. You can go to our website. That's Project 1021 with no O. So PRJCT1021.com, Project 1021. Check us out at Rockstar Studio. If you're an artist, photographer, videographer, you need a space. If you're an artist, you need a music video, or you just want to see how we have our one-stop shop, check us out at Rockstar Studio. That's ROC Star Studio, ROCStarStudio.com, Rockstar Studio. We do everything for artists from point A to point Z. Definitely download the NexxLegacy app. If it's one thing that you guys do for me, if anybody out there is listening and you guys do one thing for me, it's download the NexxLegacy app. It's free. It's a radio station, a radio app where we have total control over it. We play nothing but amazing heat Monday through Sunday, and every day is different, but it's jam-packed with music. The way we advertise business and brand is on a whole nother level. So definitely just check out NexxLegacy.com. That's NEXX legacy.com. You could go to /partners and check out all our partners that we have, from Microsoft, StubHub, Champion, Southwest Airlines, a lot more, tons more, from fashion, entertainment, education, all that. Definitely check out all our partners at NexxLegacy.com /partners. Again, man, I'm just grateful for the platform, for the Cope Life podcast. I'm grateful for you, Charleston, just meeting you in the 413, developing this relationship, this friendship. I can't wait to extract the audio. Hopefully the audio is good enough for us to extract and play it on the radio station. If not, we definitely got to do this again, or we got to get you on one of our podcasts so we could air it on NexxLegacy Radio. Just try to bring as much awareness as we possibly can to your brand. Everybody out there, thank you. If it's one thing left to say, remember, stay hungry, stay humble. We're out.